So honestly, I could probably do this without even using the clutch, but the first thing that we're gonna do is just get a good initiation. So what I like to do, match the gas, get it sideways, and then you have to detect when the car starts to slip, and you're going to let go of the wheel and catch it. So that's the first thing I want to show. Like, listen for how long I stay on the throttle, and look at my hands as we do it, and you'll be able to hear, like, I'm gonna get on the gas, I'm gonna leave the wheel steered in, and drive the car into the amount of countersteer that I want. And then when I'm ready to catch it, before it spins out, I'm gonna let off the gas, let my countersteer occur, and the car's gonna like stall at angle. So like, we're gonna pick up angle, then we're gonna wait, and then we're gonna get on the gas. I call it like throw into the drift, catch the drift so you don't spin, and then maintain it. So we'll use gas to throw it in, wait, and now we catch it. Did you notice that little pause in the throttle?
Yeah. You're not even clutching. You just, that's all throttle?
Just using the gas, just stomping on the gas in first.
Gotcha.
So you can clutch kick, and you will need to at faster tracks, but for the basics in the rain, you probably don't need to. We'll try again. So we'll just lay into it. It starts to come around, and then I wait. And so that little bit of waiting is me queuing up the amount of angle that I want.
Gotcha.
Now you aren't going to do it perfectly, but like, this is an option. I just want you to know that you have options.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying for this transition thing, I'm looking at this cone. I'm trying to drive near it. You feel your car for a minute since I haven't actually driven it yet. Okay, so here's what I do. When I want to transition, I give it a blip, a throttle, and then I wait off throttle. And that causes it to rotate, and it gives me time to catch it. Blip, wait, catch. Now we're on throttle again. Blip, wait, catch. Now we're on throttle again. So what's happening, in a nutshell, is similar to just going around the one way that I was trying to show you with like the just doing the one donut sort of turn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using the throttle to like initiate the car into a rotation, and if I stay on throttle, it's going to spin, which is, I think, is what you've been having a little bit of trouble with. So I'm blipping it, and as soon as the car starts to face dead ahead, I come off the throttle. I'm letting the wheel countersteer on its own. That's not me. I'm not even touching it. So it's coming around, and because I'm off throttle, what the car is going to do, actually I'll show you. It's going to go, it's going to transition, but then it's eventually just going to grip up. Make sure there's nobody over here still that we didn't see. So I'll do one, and I'll just stay off the throttle. Alright, so we're going to transition. I'm looking at this cone, I'm looking at this cone, and I just let go. And see, it stops. Now we're in a drift orientation. The wheels are countersteered. If I had gotten on the gas at this moment when it came around, we would have just kept right on going around. So like, when I say the ability to let off throttle on transition, what I'm doing is I'm letting the car catch itself so that it doesn't over rotate.
Yeah. But it's not gonna. It's gonna like whenever countersteers itself. Mm-hmm. It's only gonna countersteer to a straight point, right? And then you have to crank it over.
No, it'll countersteer the entire way that it needs to. So the way that the suspension geometry on cars is the front tires will always face whatever direction the car is moving. So it'll actually, like, we're this way right now, right? If we come all the way around and we go around to that turn, it'll completely go in this direction for us.
Okay. Yeah,
you don't have to do anything with your hands. Now we're gonna start driving that way because I had this counter steer in. See, it's steered to this far. Like, this is where the wheel is. I haven't touched it. So it's steered all the way past center.
Gotcha.
And we can break that down too. You can look at my hands. I'll make it real obvious because I'll pull my hands up off the wheel. Alright, so check this out. See, like,
what are you doing right there?
Yeah. It did all of that on its own. It'll do it again. Oh, that was too much. So even for me, if I queue up too much, it will spin the car out. But yeah, it's just that feel. For me, I'm a very like feel-based driver, so I have to explain it by feel. If that is not like your preferred style, it may not sink in as easily. But it's all about putting in the amount of force, and then you wait, and that causes the car to like not spin out.
See, I'm trying to figure out like how you know when it's going to transition just off throttle alone.
Okay. So it's a feel-based thing, but I'm making it happen. So if I want to keep it in a circle, then I'm going to use throttle to do that. Right? Like if I want to go around this cone right here, you can hear the throttle that I'm giving it, right? Like I'm giving it throttle, it's always going to stay drifting in this direction. When I want to change directions, I quit giving it throttle. So I'm going to quit, and it grips up instantly. Now because we're going so slow, your car was able to grip up instantly. But what I do in that case is essentially like initiating the drift in the first place. So I give it another one of those throttle blips.
Where you just hit the throttle real hard,
yeah.
Shake it up.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix because you have to, how can I say this? So let's say we're going this way, like we're countersteered over here, we're looking over here, right? Mm-hmm. In the car, the way that feels to your body is that you're leaned over like sideways and back, right? Yeah. So it's pushing this way. If I just mash the gas, it's not gonna make it change directions really, but you have two options. If you let off the gas for a second, the rear is gonna start to get traction, and because the wheels are this way, what just happened will occur. The car's just gonna start driving in that direction, which is fine, but in order to keep it from just gripping and driving in that direction, I was giving it that extra little blip. So you let off for just a moment, and you'll feel the car like, for me, I'm feeling for this. I'm feeling for the car going around. So
once it does that, you gas it again?
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, like, you can look at the scenery kind of going by the A-pillar, and how quick it's going by in this direction tells you how quick the car is turning. And so when I want it to, I'm doing a shit job explaining this, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm a real big visual learner too, man, so I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm hearing.
Yeah, let me try to give a visual explanation that works for me. It's harder here because we don't have many visual references. Mm-hmm. Like we only have 2 cones, which kind of sucks. If you were on a track, you'd have like the concrete and then all the green or dirt, yeah, whatever, and like you'd have a lot more visual information to help you figure out what's happening. But for me, I'm feeling and I'm looking at the scenery going by the car. So when I start a drift, it's going to go by really fast because the car's going to pick up a ton of angle. Yeah. Then we're going to catch the drift and we're going to hold it sideways, and it's going to slow down when you do that. So it's fast, and now it slows down, and now it's going by kind of slow, and now it's fast, and then it slows down.
See that part right there? You're already in the thing, like you're coming out of it. Do you crank the wheel down to keep it, or do you just let the car do its thing?
Oh, let the car do its thing.
That's wild. I guess it's a matter of practicing.
It's a lot of, I mean, there's definitely an element of you have to like learn that you can trust the car to do this. Yeah. And you're steering it with your feet. Honestly, like if I want it to do things, I'm using the throttle, and I'm just using the throttle. I'm not touching the clutch, I'm not touching the brake. It's just one foot is doing the whole thing. When we're like steadily in drift and we're going around this part of the turn, I am using the steering wheel to like control the shape that it takes so that it's less of a football and more of a circle, of course. But really it all comes from the throttle. Like the more throttle you give, the more countersteer you give. The less throttle you give, the less countersteer you give. Unless you want to transition, in which case you can steer a little bit. Like there's a few ways to do it. So if you want to juke the steering when you're already drifting, like countersteer more, that's one way you can initiate a direction change. So let me do that. Just watch my hands on the wheel. So we'll kick it sideways. Now one way you can do it, oh that was shit, never ignore this, that was a bad job. That was too jerky. Alright, so I can steer in more like that, and that will cause the that little steer in, that extra counter steer, will cause the car to change directions.
So right there, the wheel's taking itself right here?
Yep. See?
Wild.
Straight up, don't touch it.
So you're just letting it fall into your hands and catching it and moving it? Yeah, this is going to be alright. So I just got to practice filling the car and let it, I guess.
Pretty much. You don't see it as much when I'm driving normally because what I'm doing is I lightly hold it and I let it slip through my fingers. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is I'll hold it, like if I exaggerate it, I'll hold it, and then when I want to let it countersteer more, I'll ease up and it'll just slip through my hands, and then I'll hold it, and if I didn't get enough, I'll ease up again and it'll slip through my hands more. So you'll see this little like in the wheel, and that's me going like basically like this to get to the amount of angle. But probably what'll help you the most is to just watch my hands on the wheel for a couple of figure eights and just see what I do. And you can clutch kick or not, whichever you're most comfortable with. But for me, in the rain, I can just be nice to your car and not do it.
So you're just accelerating right there. That's all you're doing.
Yep. I'm literally just on or off throttle. That's it.
That's crazy. I'm making this so much harder than it needs to be.
It's a learned skill, man. So like that's normal, but that's all it is. So I'm on throttle, I'm balancing it, I'm not even giving it a ton. Here I'm gonna give it a blip, come off, and then ease back on. And I got too close, so we'll just go down this way. But you get the idea. For me, my personal style, it's all about a blip. Wait, balance it. I'll give it a blip, and wait, and balance it. Nice and even, we're just chilling. Give it a blip, wait, balance it, throttle's nice and even again, we're just chilling. This is so relaxing. Then we'll give it a blip, wait. So I gotta steer it here to get the angle I want. But the main thing is...
So you kind of steer into it a little bit right here. You steer in and let it go.
Just a little bit. But think about like 1/1000. Like we have so much time. You can cool your head, and as long as you're getting your steering right, 1/1000. I'm off throttle for a full 1 second. Off throttle. Okay, that was too much, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
So hopefully that like
that was perfect.
Helps to gel it.
I've been making it a little more complicated than I should have.
Man, it's perfectly normal. Everybody does it. It was the same way for me. But like hopefully feeling it and having a chance to focus on the different things one at a time will give you some stuff to try.
Yeah, I'm definitely about to start linking some things, I think.
Hell yeah, man.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you.
My pleasure.